The Kia Niro made an almighty splash when it was released back in 2016, becoming the brand's second best-selling model in the UK, and the latest model aims to make a big splash as well, being available in EV, a hybrid and a plug-in hybrid or PHEV configuration. And today we have the plug-in hybrid variant, which does look interesting. I mean, that front end is very low down, kind of looks like it doesn't belong on an SUV, and that body panel on the C-pillar sort of looks like it was patched up in a garage. But contrary to what you may think, I do actually really like the design of this. I mean, I love how Kia's staying up to date with really modern designs and being a bit quirky. I mean, there's even a air vent built into this C-pillar. It's a proper air vent as well. It's not just a faux one you get on some, you know, warm hatch cars. Yeah, look. See? Proper air vent. So, should you be adding the Niro PHEV to your PHEV shortlist? Let's take a look. Now, just like its exteriors, Kia's interiors have moved with the times as well. I mean, just look at it in here. You've got a nice big touchscreen. You've got a digital instrument cluster behind the steering wheel. Lovely detailing dotted around, especially on the dash. The dash looks particularly cool. And even this two-spoke steering wheel looks really funky and concept-like as well. I mean, we do have the flagship 4 trim, which does have quite a significant impact on how it looks in here, particularly when it comes to the touchscreen and the fully digital instrument cluster. But still, you know, it's really nice in here, and it's techie without being over-the-top futuristic. Also, Kia's new interior design language seems to have found a compromise for the whole climate control button thingy. Of course, I'm referring to whether you should have physical climate control buttons or you should bury them in the screen. Now, neither of them nowadays is ideal, so Kia's come up with a compromise which basically has this digital panel here which allows you to toggle between climate control features and media features, and yet you've still got the little toggles here for doing your temperature. And I think this works great, and importantly for many people, it looks good as well. The infotainment system in here in general is really good as well. I mean, it's very Kia. It looks good, it's very easy to use, it's very responsive. Things like sat-nav and Bluetooth just work instantly, work really well. And even like voice commands like, you know, call X, navigate to here, tune to this radio station, works pretty much flawlessly, which, you know, isn't something to be taken lightly with a car nowadays. One feature I particularly like, which I don't think I've seen on that many other cars, is the voice memo feature. So if you're driving around and you realise you need to remember something, you can just leave a voice note. Remember to pick up eggs and milk and take the bins out as well. Idea for a programme: a motoring journalist who has the legs of a horse. Yeah, so, you know, leave notes, ideas for programmes, whatnot. But yeah, I think that's a really good, you know, a really good feature. It saves you going on your phone and writing down something dangerously while you're driving. Now, a few notes on practicality in here. The door bins are a bit naff, to be honest. There's just enough space for a very small bottle. Thankfully, the glove box is a really nice size. You've also got these rather urgent cup holder arms that fire out here. That, you know, they do the job. There's some storage space down here where you can also wirelessly charge your phone. There's an armrest that lifts up here, and a little divider as well, so you can divide your trinkets and whatnot. However, oh my god, let me get that back in. One thing I will say is that this center console just feels a bit cheap and plasticky. And there's a few other little bits of scratchy plastic in here as well, and even this half sunroof blind is quite cheap feeling as well. But to be honest, I am being quite picky. I mean, if the average car buyer sat in here and they saw a German badge here, it'd probably blow the nips off. So we've got nice wide opening doors. I love a nice wide opening door, makes it very easy to climb in and to load child seats in as well. And once you're back here, you have plenty of leg room, plenty of headroom, and plenty of space to put your feet under the seat in front as well. Now, this isn't a massive SUV, but there is definitely enough space for 2 adults to sit comfortably side by side. You will struggle with the third passenger in the middle. However, 3 kids side by side will probably be okay. Now, the door bins, a bit like the front, are quite disappointing. I mean, you are only going to fit a very small child's fruit chute in there at best. And there is a little bit of a hump in the floor, so moving about can be, you know, a little bit awkward. But I think it makes up for these shortcomings with the USB charging you get here, the little storage cubbies here, and the fact that you get a fold-down armrest with 2 cup holders. And as I said, this isn't the biggest SUV on the market by any means inside, but there's just something about this rear that makes it feel really spacious. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but you know what? I think it's these headrests. So they kind of kick back like that, bit of a funky design, and it does make it easier when moving about. You can grab onto them like that. But I think that extra few inches of space you get here away from your face, although it might sound a bit, strange, it does make the rear feel more spacious than it actually is. It feels area. So a big question when it comes to plug-in hybrids and their boots is, does it lose out on boot space when compared to the standard hybrid model? Well, in the case of the Niro PHEV, yes, it does, unfortunately, by about 100 litres actually. I mean, you do still have about 348 litres to play around with, and you do get a very low load lip, so loading things in is easy to do, but 350 litres for an SUV isn't massive. You've also got pretty much no underfloor storage to play around with because of, electric stuff. I mean, you can just about fit that cable in there, maybe fit the other cable in there in a pinch. Also, these wheel arches do intrude on boot space a bit, but you can still fit a child buggy sideways like that, and those seats do fold down almost completely flat. So yeah, overall, quite a practical boot. It's just not really an SUV boot. Also, I'm not a fan of this parcel shelf. I mean, it's less of a shelf and more of a luggage hiding tarp thingy. So under the metal of the Niro PHEV is a 1.6 litre petrol engine and an 11.1 kilowatt per hour lithium ion battery, with gear changes facilitated by a 6-speed automatic gearbox. Now, the onboard battery is good for a 30 to 40 mile all-electric range, depending on how you drive, of course, and this battery will take around 3 hours to charge from a home wallbox charger. Now, you are stuck with that 3-hour charge time, by the way, because like a lot of other plug-in hybrids, the Niro PHEV does not support quick charging. Now, a really important thing to remember with plug-in hybrids is that they are, just as the name suggests, a hybrid. So although they may only offer 30 to 40 miles of all-electric driving, when driven right, they can be really, really effective hybrid vehicles. So for example, you can select EV mode here with the 30 to 40 mile electric range. That will be eaten up quite quickly. You can also select auto mode, which allows the car to flip between the petrol engine and the battery power when it sees fit. But then you can select hybrid mode, which personally I think is the best mode of all three, and one you should probably spend most of your time in, because it juggles nicely, just like a regular hybrid, between petrol power and battery power. And you can get some really impressive fuel economy with this. I mean, after, let me have a look. After 53 miles of driving, last time I reset it, I've been getting an average of around 67 miles per gallon, and that's with urban and motorway driving. And I've achieved that really easily, actually. I've not been driving, incredibly eco-conscious. So why go for the plug-in? Why not just go for the regular hybrid Niro? Well, if you're doing short school runs every day, or you're going, to work and it's within 30 or 40 miles, the all-electric range of the plug-in is absolutely spot on. And you know what? If you want to go away on the weekend to the lakes, you can, because you've got that 1.6 litre petrol engine to back you up. Don't get me wrong, if you never charge the battery in this plug-in and you drive it like a maniac, you're probably going to get around 30 to 40 miles per gallon. But if you're buying a plug-in hybrid and driving it like that, you're stupid. Also, a quick note for company car drivers: with low CO2 of just 22 grams per kilometre, the Niro PHEV carries just a 12% BAK tax rate for 2022 and 2023. And I like the way you can dial in the regenerative braking modes in the Niro as well, using these paddles behind the steering wheel. I like how easy it is just using these paddles, it's really good. Now, aside from all that hybrid stuff, the Niro is very nice to drive. I mean, it is by no means fun, but for a family SUV, it's absolutely fine. The cabin is nice and quiet when cruising, even at motorway speeds, and the ride is really supple. I mean, when seeing those 18-inch alloy wheels on the outside, I feared for the worst, but it's really nice. It's a really nice, pleasant drive. I mean, if you do floor it to jump out at a junction and the petrol engine, bounces the revs, you do get, there it is, you do get quite a big roar, but that's par for the course really with hybrids and plug-ins. And I did allude to it before when I was talking about the touchscreen and this little climate control panel here, but you know, all the functions are just really easy to use on the go, whether it's the climate control, the sat nav, or you know, the media functions. Idea for a program: a motoring journalist who has the legs of a horse. Now, some plug-in hybrids can feel a little bit thrown together, especially with brands wanting to jump on the bandwagon, but the Niro PHEV does feel really well calculated, especially when it comes to fuel economy. I mean, it's excellent, and you know, many would argue that for a plug-in hybrid, that is the most important thing. Okay, so I did nitpick a little bit with the Niro, but you know, A, that's my job, and B, you do tend to find that eco-conscious cars are guilty of cutting corners in certain areas, whether that's to accommodate battery packs, like in the boot, to save costs or improve fuel economy. And the Niro is guilty of these in areas, but so are most of its rivals. And Kia as a brand is starting to move more and more out of the obscure and into the genuinely desirable, and so it should. I mean, as a brand, I really do like Kia. And don't forget, even though it is becoming more mainstream, Kia still boasts its 7-year, 100,000 mile warranty.